We'd love for you to be part of our life group. Would you please join us today at bccindy.org/groups.
If you are a student or you have a student that's in middle school or high school, I would love to invite you to Young Vineyard. We meet Sunday nights, 6 o'clock to 7:30, right here at the YMCA. Hey, if you have kids with you today, we invite you to come to the South Hall and check them in where they can enjoy some children's programming at Vineyard Kids.
Make sure you download our app wherever you get apps. Search VCCND. Hi, I'm so happy you could be here, and I really hope you enjoy.
Bathrooms are available at the main entrance. Just look for the signage or find a hospitality person to help you out.
Got this weight upon my chest and I can't stop forgetting. My God, you've never left, you're right here with me. Still I'm convinced you're hiding. Oh God, would you remind me that you're still just as good.
Hey, if you're here with us in person today, make sure that you get a hot cup of coffee and a fresh donut. I heard that the calories don't count on Sunday.
Don't let me forget that you're still the same God. Led me through the fire, You're still the same God that separates the waters. Come do what only you can do. God, I need you. You've done this before, will you do it again? 'Cause the waves are all around me, and it feels like I'm drowning. My God, will you still reach down and give me your hand? 'Cause even when I'm doubting, your love, it still surrounds me. Oh, and you're still just as good as when I met you. You're still just as kind. Don't let me forget that you're still the same God who led me through the fire. You're still the same God who separates the waters. Come do what only you can do. God, I need you. Oh, and I'm building on.
Well, happy Baptism Sunday. Who here has been a part of a baptism celebration at the Vineyard in the past? Woo! Oh, it's going to be so much fun. Baptism looks very different in many of the different Christian traditions, but here at the Vineyard, baptism looks a little bit like this. Watch this. Oh, it's going to be so much fun. Baptism is an outward celebration of an inward transformation. And we're going to be celebrating those changed lives here shortly over the next 60 minutes. And during the next 60 minutes, we're going to sing a few songs of thanks and of praise to God for how good He is. And we call this worship. And also, I want you to know that our Vineyard Kids is open during both of our celebrations. You can check your kids in at the main entrance. And we would love to connect with you online through any of our social media platforms. You can just search VCC Indy on social media. And we even have an app that we would love to get you plugged in with where you can catch up on messages, download playlists, and even get involved. And you can search VCC Indy wherever you get apps. With that, would you please stand?
Good morning, everybody. Let's start things off today singing a new song. I'm calling on the God of Jacob, whose love endures through generations. I know that you will keep your covenants. I'm calling on the God of Moses, the one who opened up the ocean. I need you now to do the same thing for shepherd boy courageous. And I may not face Goliath, but I've got my own giants. Oh God, my God, I need you. Oh God, my God, I need you now. How I need you now. Oh rock of ages, I'm standing on your faithfulness. On your faithfulness. You heard your children then, you hear your children now. You are the same God. You are the same God. You answered prayers back then, and you will answer now. You are the same God. You are the same God. You were providing then, you are providing now. You are the same God. You are the same God. You move in power then, God move in power now. You are the same God. You are the same God. You were a healer then, you are a healer now. You are the same God. You are the same God. You were a savior then, you are a savior now. You are the same God. You are the same God. And oh God, my God, I need you. Oh God, my God, I need you now. How I need you now. And oh rock of ages, I'm standing on your faithfulness. On your faithfulness. Oh God, my God, I need you. Oh God, my God, I need you now. How I need you now. How we need you. Oh rock of ages, I'm standing on your faithfulness. On your faithfulness. You freed the captives then, you're freeing hearts right now. You are the same God. You are the same God. You touch the lepers and you feel your touch right now. You are the same God. You are the same God.
You carry the cross.
nowhere else I would rather be. I love being here. This is so much fun. Hey, we're going to continue to sing songs of worship and to celebrate changed lives through water baptism here in just a short bit. But maybe you're here today and you're thinking, what is water baptism? What really, who is God? Why is everybody so excited about this? Maybe you have questions or maybe you have cynicism or doubts. Well, you're in the perfect place, and I'm glad you're here because we take that very seriously, and we believe that God has a very distinctive love for you and a very distinctive purpose for you. And this June, we are going to be launching a summer course starting June 8th that is all about facilitating discussion and to give the ability for people to ask really, really meaningful questions. And this course is called Alpha. Watch this video.
We all have that person in our lives. That neighbor we pass by every day outside our homes. That coworker we see at the office 5 days a week. Or those friends we catch up with every once in a while. People we wish could know and experience the love of God. How do we share it? Where do we even start? Deep inside, we know that it'll cost us something to open up our lives and share our faith. It takes time, vulnerability, sacrifice, the risk of rejection. But this is our call, to open our lives and to share Christ with the people close to us. Because it's only through opening your life up that spaces for honest conversations are possible. Spaces where people can truly be themselves and explore the deepest parts of life with people they know and trust. That's why we're running Alpha. It's a course over several weeks where you can invite your friends to explore life's biggest questions over a meal. It's a chance for you to invite that person into an honest conversation about faith. Because when it's hard to find the moment, or the words, or the courage, you can simply invite. Alpha, who will you invite?
It's going to be a life-changing experience for everybody that is a part of this. And if you're sitting here and you're wondering, what is my purpose? Where is God when nothing makes sense? You're invited to Alpha. In the program you received today, there's an invite card, and all of the information you need is right there. Or maybe as you watch that, you're so inspired and convicted, and there's that one person who comes to your mind. That invite card is for them. Go ahead and hold on to that and give that to your friend, and we'll all enjoy Alpha together. If you have more questions, you can talk to our Alpha leader, Curtis, or Judy back at the red table in the room after the celebration is over. And I want to share this too, to show you just how in this God is. As God was inspiring us to launch this Alpha course, we didn't know how difficult it would be. We didn't know all of the steps that were involved. And we didn't know that many wealthy, anonymous Christian families in the nation had gathered together over $100 million to start an ad campaign on TV and on billboards and on the internet to make Jesus and his down-to-earth, tangible love famous. They spent $100 million on this, and when you go to their website, when people see their commercials, one of the options is to join a local group, and when people click on that, right here in our city, it's going to take them to our Alpha group. And we had no idea that was going on as God was leading us. So we're so inspired for all that he'll do in Alpha and this summer as we launch a brand new series called Supernatural this June, which is going to be a ton of fun. Maybe you have questions about those mysterious aspects of the faith or of the Bible. This is perfect time for you to come in. All of this is impossible without your continued investment in Change Life and your awesome generosity. Thank you for continuing to believe in what God is doing right here. That's why we make giving really easy at our green giving stations in the back of the room by cash, check, or card, or online at vccindy.org/give. We make it easy because we know what a difference it makes, not only in others' lives, but in our own lives. And also, I really ask you and I really encourage you, fill out the Connect card you received today in your program. And if it's your first time, I'm glad you're here, but do go ahead and check mark that box that says, I'm new to the Vineyard. And you can drop that Connect card at one of the green giving stations, or you can fill it out digitally if you're a little bit more tech savvy at vccnd.org/connect. So with that, let's continue our May series, Crazy Faith.
Crazy.
Hey everybody, welcome. So good to be with you today. What an exciting time here at the Vineyard, because once again, we are celebrating changed lives through baptism. For those of you who are new, maybe first-time guests joining in online or here today in person, just to let you know, we are also in this really exciting new message series that we are calling Crazy Faith. Would you turn to somebody and say to them, Crazy Faith? Yeah. You need some crazy faith, yeah. So today I want to talk to you about how to have a fresh start and a brand new beginning in life. I wonder how many of you heard say, you know, I'd love to have a fresh start and a brand new beginning in life. Wouldn't it be great if there was some sort of a rewind button that we could just push and just go back and kind of redo it over again, but do it better this time? I mean, that'd be great, wouldn't it? But we all know there's no such thing as a magic rewind button to push and go back and redo it because it's all behind us. But the good news is this, you can start over. And did you know God is the God of fresh starts and brand new beginnings in life? Would you take the outline out of your program entitled Taking the Initiative? I want to draw your attention to our opening text. It's from Psalm 145, verse 14. We read here, God gives a fresh start to those who are ready to quit. Isn't that a great promise? God gives a fresh start to those who are ready to just give it up, or ready to quit. Say, enough is enough, I can't take it anymore. For some of you, you picked the perfect time to be here today, because maybe this describes your life. Maybe you've at the end of your rope, maybe you're just really discouraged and dealing with some difficult things in life, and you just really feel like giving up. Well, there is hope for you. Regardless of who you are, where you've been, or what you've done, or what may be going on in your life. I want to invite you in to just consider this. It's a true story, an account that we read about in the Bible about a guy by the name of Bartimaeus. And Bartimaeus, he had a tough time. And he was at a place, I'm sure, that he felt like giving up a lot of times because of this. First of all, his name, Bartimaeus, actually means son of filth. How would you like to be named son of filth? You grow up, you go to school, somebody says, hi, what's your name? Oh, I'm son of filth. But even more so, he had a real serious problem. And that Bartimaeus was blind. He had this handicap, this disability, in that he was blind. So therefore, he wouldn't have had an education, marketable skills, abilities to do things that other people are able to do, and he's desperately dependent upon other people to lead him around. And in the first century, in the Middle East, if you were a blind person, you were just destined to be a beggar. You were on the streets. You were at the mercy of other people, maybe throwing you a few copper coins and what was called alms as a way of showing their honor to God by having pity on you because of your condition and flipping you a few copper coins here and there so that you can survive on. And so for Bartimaeus, this was just another day in the neighborhood where he was dependent upon someone else to lead him out to the edge of the road where he sat on a pallet in order to beg. At the same place, at the same time, all day, every day, on a pallet along the road. And so here he is. He's feeling like quitting. It's like, what am I going to do? I mean, there's no hope for me. And that's when he heard from somebody else, word on the street, that Jesus is in town. And blind Bartimaeus started thinking, oh my gosh, I've heard stories about Jesus. I mean, he's like the one who goes around and showing kindness and encouraging people and helping people and healing people and saving people and forgiving people of their sins. So he has this glimpse of hope and expectation that who knows, maybe today could be my day to have a fresh start and a brand new beginning. And so he's here along the road, Main Street, Jericho, and he hears the sound of this crowd of people coming closer and closer and closer. And so he waits for just the right moment, the precise moment in time when they're right in front of him, because he can hear them even though he can't see. And all of a sudden, he just yells out at the top of his lungs, "Son of David, have mercy on me." And the people in the crowd were mostly locals who recognized blind Bartimaeus, this despicable, pitiful beggar. And so they shunned him. They scolded him. They said, "Shut up. Don't say a word. Be quiet." And you know what he did? You know what his response was? He yelled all the louder. That's crazy faith. He took it up a few notches. And that's when the people in the crowd who noticed who he was, they said again, "Hey, you just shut up. Shut your mouth. Don't say a word." And you know what Jesus did? Jesus turned to the very people who seemed to be offended by Bartimaeus doing something that appeared to be inappropriate for them. And Jesus asked them, he said, "Would you guys go get him and bring him to me?" Talk about like a verbal slap on the hand. The very people who were like scolding him, putting him down, looking at him like this, were the very ones that Jesus asked out a crowd to go and get him and bring him to him. So they bring Bartimaeus to Jesus, and here he is now in the presence of Jesus. It's like a dream come true. Oh, what a wonderful day. And Jesus asked him a very interesting question. He asked, "What would you like for me to do for you?" I mean, it would seem like it's pretty obvious. The guy's blind. And he said, "Lord, I want to see." And that's when it happened. In the holy presence of Jesus, in an instant, he went from being completely blind to being able to clearly see. To see the people whose voices he'd heard for such a long time. And to be able to see Jesus and look into the eyes of Jesus. His life was radically changed. He got a fresh start and a brand new beginning in life. He went from being a beggar alongside the road to now being on the road and following Jesus. Now, in this true account that we read about in the Bible about Bartimaeus, in Mark 10, there are actually 5 insights that make it possible for every single one of us, no matter who you are, what's going on in your life, to have a fresh start and a brand new beginning. And I thought it would be fun for us to just consider the word start, because there are 5 letters in the word start as an acrostic as we take a look at this to make it more memorable. So here's how to have a fresh start. The S in start, first of all, number 1, the S in start is to seize the moment. To seize the moment. This is exactly what blind Bartimaeus did. He seized the moment. He didn't mess around. He didn't procrastinate. He didn't delay. He acted, and he acted quickly when he saw this is an opportune moment of time, I'm going to lift up my voice. I'm going to do anything and everything I can to get Jesus' attention. In Mark chapter 10, verse 46 and 47, we read, Jesus and his disciples left town. A large crowd followed him. A blind beggar named Bartimaeus was sitting beside the road. The same place where he was placed every day, for all day. But this day was a new day because he didn't mess around. He didn't hold back. He seized the moment. And we read on here, the rest of this verse, when Bartimaeus heard that Jesus of Nazareth was nearby, he began to shout, Jesus, Son of David, have mercy on me. He went for it because this was an opportunity. You know, every single day we have opportunities that flash by in front of our faces. We have windows of opportunity. We have doors of opportunities. We have encounters. We run across certain people's path, certain circumstances. There are things all around us on a regular basis, but sometimes it seems as if we're just so busy we don't slow down long enough to really look around and maybe to ask, God, what would you like for me to do? What would you like for me to see? What are you showing me? Or God, would you give me eyes to see what you're doing and to be able to see those moments and times? But usually we're too busy, or one of the things that for so many of us in the complexity of our world today and the challenges and the difficulties, we sometimes feel so beaten down that we're not looking up and we're not aware. And for some, we've even lost an expectation of ever having an opportunity or seeing anything different than the way that it's always been. And sometimes we even say things like, well, this is just the way it is, and this is the way it's always going to be. Who said and why? Could it be that God is opening up an opportunity for you? Could it be that there is a reason for why you're here today and joining in online? Number 2, this is the second letter in the word start. The T is to tame. Tame your fear. To tame your fear. Fear is a terrible thing because fear paralyzes us and keeps us from our potential in life. It's fear that holds us back. It's fear that causes us to be skeptical and defensive. And it's fear that causes us to live in the past and not live in the present and the future. It's fear that shuts us down and holds us back. And so Bartimaeus, when it came to this fear, he faced really probably one of the darkest and most intimidating fears of all, and that is the fear of disapproval, of people, disapproval, and the fear of rejection. Because when the people there told him, they said, hey, shut up, don't say anything, be quiet, it was decision-making time. He could either just be intimidated by that fear of disapproval and that of rejection, and just shut down and held back, but he didn't. He faced his fear, and he dealt with it because he elevated it. This is what crazy faith will do for us in our lives. It causes us to go over and above it, to deal with it, to face it head on. We read in Mark chapter 10, verse 48. We read, many of the people scolded him and told him to be quiet. And what did he do? Let's read it. But he shouted even more loudly, Son of David, have mercy on me. He just took it up a few notches. And that's how he dealt with his fear. There are a lot of things in life today that we deal with, a lot of phobias. The fear of rejection, the fear of disapproval, the fear of not being liked, the fear of failure. Well, if I try something different, what if it doesn't work? And holds us back and keeps us from God's best. we read on here, Mark 10, or no, okay, we just read that, sorry. So here's something I don't want us to miss, though, because, you know, oftentimes we listen to the fearful voices of the people in the crowd, and it shuts us down. And you know, they're familiar voices that we hear all around us to add to our self-talk, our inner voice, telling us, you're not worthy, you can't do it, it's not going to come together, just play it safe, just hold back, just shut down, don't go for it. And then we hear the voices of those in the crowd, the voices that say, whatever you do, don't get serious about your faith. Whatever you do, don't get too whacked out, you know, with this Christianity stuff. Whatever you do, don't get close to Jesus. Whatever you do, don't become one of those Jesus freaks. And whatever you do, don't start going to church. I mean, you'll never be the same again. And whatever you do, don't be hanging out with those crazy Christians because everybody knows they're all hypocrites. I mean, these voices all around us become so loud in our lives and create all of this anxiety and fear and just cause us to shut down and hold back. But it's crazy faith that rises up within us, just like blind Bartimaeus, to not only seize the moment, but to tame our fears and to overcome them. And number 3 is to announce our faith. This is the A in the word start, is to announce your faith, which means to go public with what you believe. Did you know that there's no such thing as a private Christianity of just not say anything about your faith? Did you know that a secret faith is a weak faith? But when you go public with what you believe, it takes it to a whole nother level. In fact, when I became a Christian a number of years ago, I mean, I was living on a wild and crazy lifestyle, lots of friends and stuff going on. And when I came back home after becoming a follower of Jesus, you know what I did? The first thing I did is I told all my friends. I told everybody about it. And it was the most powerful thing I could do because not only did it strengthen my faith, but it also made a statement that I had to live up to. This is who I am now. And this is what my life is all about. And went public with my faith, even as a number of people are going to be going public with their faith here in a few minutes. As we consider Bartimaeus, this is what we read in Mark chapter 10, verse 51. Jesus asked him, "What do you want me to do for you?" The blind man answered, "Teacher, I want to see." Now, notice the question that Jesus asked him, what do you want me to do for you? I mean, that's an interesting question. I mean, doesn't it cause us to kind of wonder, why would Jesus, of all people, ask this poor, pitiful, blind man, Bartimaeus, who's a beggar, why would Jesus ask him, what do you want me to do for you? I mean, isn't it obvious? I mean, that he needs his eyesight, he needs to see. But the reason Jesus asked this question wasn't for Jesus, it was for blind Bartimaeus. It was for him to activate his faith. It was for him to go public. It was for him to verbalize as a declaration of faith, this is what I'm asking for. This is what I need. This is what I want you to do for me. And the moment he did, the faith was like a catalyst in the presence of Jesus that caused this miracle of healing to take place. Did you know it's the same thing is true in your life and in my life? Is that the nearness of Jesus is here in this place right now. And the nearness of Jesus goes with you and watches over you. And in the presence of Jesus, in a relationship with him, he patiently waits. He's asking you, what would you like for me to do for you? Not only right now here, sitting together in church, but on a daily basis, he's just a whisper away. What would you like for me to do? Well, Jesus, I'd like for you to give me peace. You know, I'm uptight about this meeting that I have scheduled today. Or, Jesus, would you give me some clarity in my marriage? Things has become very complex and we're having a difficult communicating and understanding each other. I would like to invite you into my marriage. Or Jesus is saying, what would you like for me to do? Well, Jesus, I have this friend and I really care about this friend and I know this friend's far from you. Would you give me the favor, the wisdom, and the grace to point them in a direction toward you? And would you help me in this? See, these are things on a regular basis, even as daily, Jesus is there inviting you. What would you like for me to do? And it's a way of verbalizing and activating your faith. And that's exactly what we're going to do in a few moments with baptism. I mean, this is a huge statement of faith. This is an outward expression of this inward, this life change. That's what baptism is about. In fact, baptism is a beautiful, colorful picture of one identifying with Jesus in his death, burial, and resurrection, all about the cross and going public. I'm not ashamed of the gospel. This is what baptism is all about. In Galatians chapter 3, verse 26, this is what we read in 7. For you are all children of God through faith in Christ Jesus, and all of you have been united with Christ in baptism, have put on Christ like putting on new clothes. The old is gone, the new has come. A fresh start and a brand new beginning. And this is how we get a fresh start. We glean from these insights from this encounter that Bartimaeus had in the presence of Jesus. And number four, the R in the word start is to receive God's grace. To receive God's grace. To not only to seize the moment, but to actually receive God's grace in your life. Now, God's grace is sufficient. God's grace is available. And some might ask, well, Jim, what is grace? Grace is a gift. Grace is something we don't deserve. And grace is something that God has just given us. He's provided us grace, and we can't earn it. And this is what we see with Bartimaeus in Mark chapter 10, verse 52. This is what we read here. Jesus said to him, go, your faith has made you well. And immediately he regained his sight. I realize that today a number of you are hurting. Those of you who are joining it online, and many of you that are here today, and you know, we kind of do the church thing, we put on a smiley face, but we know down deep inside, there are areas in your life where you're hurting. Some of you from some great disappointment. You had expectations for something and it didn't turn out the way you expected it to. For some of you, it's a massive amount of emotional pain due to the loss in life, perhaps the loss of a loved one, and it really hurts. And yet, for some of you, maybe it's a strained relationship or a broken relationship that seems irreconcilable, and you feel defeated in that. And for others of you, maybe it's because you're dealing with a lot of heaviness in your life because maybe you've tried to do your very best. I'm going to live out the Christian life if it kills me. I'm going to do everything I can. I'm going to be just like Jesus. And maybe you've tripped up and you've been set back, and maybe you've drifted, and maybe you've fallen, and maybe you're thinking, oh my gosh, could it be that you're trying to do it on your own apart from Jesus? Could it be that what you need is to receive an increased measure of his grace in your life? In John chapter 1, verse 16, we read, out of his fullness we have all received grace in place of grace already given. God's grace was demonstrated to us at the cross. His grace is available, and he continues to pour his grace out on us. I recently heard about a little boy who went in the backyard, and he tried to move a boulder because his dad wanted this boulder moved. And the little boy went in the backyard, he pushed on the boulder as hard as he could, and it just wouldn't budge. So then he went in the barn and he got this rope and he put a rope around the boulder and he started pulling it as hard as he could, but it wouldn't budge. So then he went and got a 2x4 and he pried underneath it to get some leverage, trying to get this boulder to move, and still it wouldn't budge. He was so frustrated, he was so weary, he was so worn out that he went back in the house and he said, "Father, I've tried everything to move that boulder that you wanted me to move, and it just will not budge." His dad said, "Son, did you try everything?" He said, "Yes, I tried everything. I tried pushing it, and I tried pulling it. I got a board, and I tried to leverage it and pry it over, and I couldn't get it to move." His dad said, "Did you try everything?" And the kid like, "Are you kidding me, Dad?" "Yes, I tried everything." And his dad said, "Son, you didn't ask for my help. I would be glad to help you. Let's go together." Isn't this reality in our lives? We drift into such a self-sufficient life. We try to do it on our own to kind of prove ourselves, when in reality God's grace is available. Jesus is our helper. He's our friend. He's just a call away. And number 5, as we consider the word start, the T is to take the next step. Now, there's always a next step for every single one of us. And for those of you who are joining in online and those of us who are here today in a diverse crowd this size, each and every one of our steps are most likely probably different, but there's always a next step for you to take. And this is what we're to do, is to be willing to take that next step, whatever it is. I mean, think about it. If you're following Jesus, there's always a next step. For some of you here right now, and joining in online, your next step is to say a big yes to Jesus and surrender your life to him, to ask him to come into your life and forgive you of your sins. And then for some of you, your next step is to be baptized. You are a believer, but maybe you've never been baptized, or it was a number of years ago, and it just doesn't seem that meaningful to you now. Or for some of you, your next step could be going through the Vineyard Growth Track. It's an online course that you can just go on at will anytime at our website and just go through the 4 steps of our growth track. And yet for some of you, your next step could be joining a small group, gathering together in a circle in a living room with other people each week. And for some of you, your next step, for those of you who are unconvinced and have so many unanswered questions, it could be the Alpha course that's going to begin in June. But everybody has a next step. Don't miss this. Watch carefully. Mark chapter 10, verse 52. We read, immediately, this is the story of Bartimaeus. Immediately he regained his sight and began following Jesus on the road. Notice those words. He began following Jesus on the road. I mean, think about it. Bartimaeus went from being alongside the road to now following Jesus on the road. What was he doing following Jesus on the road? He had a fresh start and a brand new beginning, and he's taking next steps following Jesus. This describes your life and in my life, because there are always next steps for us to take. And this is what faith is about. Faith is not static, it's dynamic. It's like something that's active, not sterile. And this is why James, the brother of Jesus, said these words recorded in James 2:14. He said, if people say they have faith but do nothing with their faith, it's worth nothing. Faith is to be active. to take those next steps. Now, as we consider this, think about it for a moment. This is how we get a fresh start in life. It's right in your outline. You can keep this and review it each day. To seize the moment, this is what we learned from Bartimaeus, to tame your fear, to announce your faith by going public, to receive God's grace, and to take that next step. Would you please stand? I don't know where you may stand in your relationship with God right now, but if you're not sure about where you are, this would be the perfect time for you to get a fresh start and a brand new beginning in your life. Would you just bow your head for a moment as we pray? For those of you that your next step is to enter into a relationship with Jesus, would you just right now, either out loud or under your breath, just say, Jesus, I need you. I want you in my life. Would you forgive me of my sins? I want to begin a whole new life in relationship with you. And now, as we just stand in the presence of the Lord, Jesus is here. His presence is here. And I don't know what your next step may be, but I know He speaks. And would you just ask Him, Jesus, what's my next step? What is it that you're asking me to do? And as the Lord speaks to your heart and makes that clear, this is what I want you to do. This is my next step. This is what crazy faith's about. Not playing it safe, but stepping out. For some of you, maybe it's being baptized. Maybe you weren't prepared or planning on being baptized today, but could this be an opportune moment in time, a moment for you to seize? Jesus, we thank you for your presence that's here. We thank you for these people that are going to be following you in baptism. And we just pray that you would just have your way here. We welcome you to come, Jesus, and have your rightful place here in the midst of us. For we ask this in your name. Amen. All right, so now some people are going to be coming, and they're going to be going in the water, and you'll be able to see how they're going to be baptized. And so if maybe your next step is baptism, seize the moment. You too, while we're singing these songs and celebrating changed lives, you can just step out from where you are and go back behind the curtain here, and you too can be baptized. And you're thinking, well, I don't have a change of clothes. What am I going to do? Guess what? We have dry towels, blow dryers. We have all that kind of stuff for you. So let's go for it.
Praise arise. is what freedom feels like. This is what heaven sounds like. We praise you, we praise you. This is what living looks like. This is what freedom feels like. This is what heaven sounds like. We praise you, we praise you. This is what living looks like. This is what freedom feels like. This is what heaven sounds like. We praise you, we praise. We'll see you break down every wall. We'll watch the giants fall. Fear cannot survive when we praise you. The God of breakthroughs on our side, forever lifted high, with all creation crying, God, we praise you. We praise you. We praise you. We praise you.
All right, that's what we're all about, celebrating changed lives here at the Vineyard. And I don't know for sure what your next step is, but make sure, whatever it might be, whatever the Lord speaks to you, you do just like blind Bartimaeus. You just go for it, and you just go for it and do it, and don't hold back at all. I want to thank you so much for being here today, and just to let you know, we have another celebration in just a little bit at 11:30. So if you've thought about, maybe I want to get baptized, and you need a few minutes to think about it, just stick around. We're going to have another celebration at 11:30. We're going to be baptizing people there. We have a bunch of people signed up. It's going to be a great time. And whatever next step the Lord has given you, just make sure that you go for it. And I want to thank you for being here today. Next week, we'll continue on with our new series, Crazy Faith. Thank you so much. God bless you, and have a great week.